I just and the number one, and they talked about in there how it's not really like a love song reasons, but even hearing that, that's not going to change people's minds because when you hear that
It's
falsetto
not.
come in, yeah, it's a love song.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
And if it's not a love song, people are having love, making love to it
Right,
regardless. So
absolutely. Yeah.
if you're hearing this, thank you for pressing play on another edition of It's a Streamable Life podcast with Brandon and Lauren. We are nearing the end of June, and right now we're gearing up for a special episode celebrating Black Music Month, which is also celebrated in June. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, how was your weekend? We saw each other
Uh,
again.
yeah, I'd say yeah, it's pretty good. It's 2 weekends in a row, so yeah, we came over that way. Um, Little pre Father's Day celebration. But yeah, it was pretty good. Unfortunately, I think it's about to storm again. This one may be pretty
Yeah,
nasty. Getting tired
yeah.
of that, but that comes with the summer and being in the Midwest. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, same here. We had dinner today for Father's Day and just been
Hmm.
kind of relaxing after that. And yeah, kind of gearing forward the weather. Hopefully, everything stays intact and whatnot. We've got
Yes, God.
House of the Dragon. I don't want cable or anything to
Right,
go out or something. So,
right. So hopefully it moves
but
quickly. I guess we'll see.
yeah, yeah, moves quickly and stealthily as possible.
Right.
First off, before we get into our future presentation, we're going to get into our headlines. And given that you are our sports aficionado here, we are in the midst of the World Cup held here in the States. I'm not sure when the
Yeah.
last time that's happened or if this is a first. Do we know when the last
Yeah.
time we
So
held the World Cup?
the last time it happened was in 1994, and even though it's
Oh wow.
2026, it's still um, countries usually don't get it again within 20 years. So for us to have it that quickly again is pretty quick and interesting. And a lot of people think there are multiple reasons behind that. One of them being money, knowing that coming to the United States is going to make bank. And
Yeah.
FIFA, the organization behind the World Cup, is not necessarily a good one. So to have this current administration and FIFA come together, yeah, money
Oh.
is king here. So, but the games have been good. The fans have taken to the cities they've been in. Kansas City, which for Americans is like what, but they're having
Right.
fun in Kansas City, in Boston, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Seattle, and this World Cup's actually shared with 3 countries. So Toronto and Vancouver have games as well as Mexico City. I know Guadalajara, Monterrey, and maybe yeah, just Mexico City. I'm not sure where else, but yeah. So far so good. No, nothing really out of the ordinary. But it's been funny to see some of the reactions of people to
Right.
American things. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been
Yeah.
good so far.
Yeah, I've seen some discourse online just about, the cuisine and they didn't know we were so
Right.
cultured and it's like, okay.
What?
But yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been exciting to see and there was some trepidation of course given our administration and their
Right.
outlook on immigration and that has been an issue here and there which
Right.
doesn't make any sense. But hopefully things are going good. People seem to be enjoying the game. They've seen a lot of people root
Yeah.
for their respective countries or choosing a country to root for. Um, so yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting because they're entering the part of the tournament where teams start to get eliminated. So the amount of people
Mm,
here will drastically
dwindle.
decrease, and then it will go down to all American cities, and then the final, unfortunately, is in MetLife. They couldn't have picked a worse stadium. Like
Yep.
so, but yeah. Either way, yeah. Just hope for the next 20 or so days it goes off without a hitch and people keep enjoying themselves. So
Right, right. And staying in that sports realm, we have the New York Knicks were crowned the NBA champions this
ew.
almost a week and a half ago now.
Yeah, I believe
After
so.
a 53-year gap, they last won in like the 70s when the majority of us were not here. or thought of. So
Right.
um, it's kind of crazy because they were always in contention, especially in the
Right.
90s, but I never realized they never actually made it or actually won. They made it in 1999, but lost. So
Right.
it was a great feat for them, and it just kind of another notch in Mamdani's
Yeah.
helmet. Like he
Yeah.
he's definitely brought us a sense of pride and joy to the city.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it sucks to see as a Pacers fan, but um, it is one of those fan bases where it's just I don't know how to put it into words. You do expect them to be higher, like with the Lakers and the
Mm-hmm.
Spurs and the Celtics. But yeah, they've just had a 5 decades of horrible, horrible luck.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
It's
can remember, I vaguely remember. I think the years, Allen Houston, John Starks, Patrick Ewing, and them just
right,
always coming up short, either with the Pacers or the Pacers. Like, I think that was
right.
like the rivalry then. Um, but yeah, congrats to them. Jalen Brunson is a young star. I didn't realize how young he actually is. Um, and they finally got the right chemistry with Mike Brown as coach.
Right.
Um, Josh Hart. Really happy for Cat, given
Yeah,
his
everything he
life
went
the
through.
past 2 years, everything he went through with COVID and his family and whatnot. That was great to see. So I hope they don't show up to the White House, but it looks like they are. I don't know.
But yeah, we'll see.
That's what, yeah, that's what their owner said, which is very interesting. But
Yeah, he's like,
congrats to them. Yeah,
yeah, he's like Trump's buddy. So yeah,
yeah, he said they're going, but I don't think there was ever an actual
right.
team agreement. So moving on to entertainment news, the Department of Justice has approved the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger, and there is still much angst around this
Yeah,
monopolization
absolutely.
of the industry. There are still lawsuits that are pending from different senators in different states. There's international outcry. Like the BBC is calling for the stoppage of this. And there was a recent study where they said at least 2,500 jobs in LA alone will be lost with this
Damn.
convergence, and almost 6,000 globally. So it's not something good for an industry that's already struggling to make bank like they used to. Um, Apart from like the political side of it, it's just not good for
No,
the industry, for the economy, and for consumers. I don't understand the
no,
need to do this to satisfy the literal 1% that's making profit off of this while everyone else suffers.
and I don't think it's going to. Um, I don't think it's going to last. And I think maybe
Right.
someone in Netflix knows that, and they're kind of playing the vulture role right now. Like, yeah, when this dies, we're going to go ahead and feast on this and get it for cheaper.
Yeah. Because if you know your TV history, HBO, well, Warner Bros. In general has done this before when they wanted to partner with AT&T way
Yeah,
back in the
yeah,
day, and it was a horrible, horrible merger and basically a big flop. So they've been here before, and David Zaslav only came to Warner Brothers because he was trying to save Discovery. He has not led the company well, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, it could blow up in their face, and it'll be a massive, massive red scar in history. Like it's just insane to
absolutely.
think a a deal of $100 billion just tanking. Um,
Right.
so
I
and I
think it's
think
just a
it's
matter of time. We just,
yeah, definitely. And I think it's one of the root causes for our next two stories. Quinta Brunson announced that she would be leaving her 5-year deal with Warner Brothers to move over to Disney. Warner Brothers, where she developed Abbott Elementary, and she had a 4-year deal. Well, she had a 5-year
mm,
deal, and allegedly they, or is that Ryan? No. Okay. she had a deal with them, and people said her allegedly her uneasiness about who would own Warner Brothers had her move
Oh,
to Disney. So she'll be
okay.
developing television over there. And the same with Ryan Coogler's Proximity Media, his TV outfit, is leaving Disney for Netflix. He had a 5 year deal there, and he was ready to recoup for a 4 year deal. And I guess they wanted to pay him less.
Oh, wow.
And this is after him winning an Oscar for Sinners.
Right.
So he immediately also departed and joined the Netflix rank. But he will still have some projects under the Disney umbrella, including his X Files reboot over at Hulu. So those deals projects will still remain there, but he'll be developing more TV projects under the Tadum umbrella. So
Uh, does that have a date yet? The X Files thing?
no, they have cast for the pilot, which I'm sure they're maybe filming by now.
Yeah.
And if Hulu likes it, it will get approved.
Okay.
Pilot season, like we said, has returned to the streamers. We see
Yeah.
Warner Brothers doing this with their new legal and cop drama, similar to The Pit. It will have a pilot, and they will pick it up after that. And we saw Hulu recently decline the Buffy reboot off a pilot, so it's TV under a new name, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we'll transition to our feature presentation where we'll celebrate Black Music Month, discussing the new HBO Max documentary that came out about Earth, Wind, and Fire, directed by Questlove of The Roots. Documentary basically chronicled the rise, fall, and lingering success and legacy of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was founded and led by the late Maurice White. You also have Verdine White, Philip Bailey, and Ron Johnson, who are sort of the original members that continue the band
Yeah.
performing and touring to this day. So, what was your general impression with the documentary after the credits started to roll? What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. Um, I think there wasn't anything bad. Learned a lot, genuinely, and it's weird. For 2 hours, it still seemed to move very quickly. Like it was at like a
Yeah,
quick pace, and I was just like, "Oh, dang! Okay." So it just felt like we went from this part to this part to this part, and I thought maybe some of the interviews could have been a little bit longer, but in terms of like entertainment and that, I was like, "Yeah, it's good." And it's one of those things like you have it all the time in music documentaries. You hear a song, you just automatically just like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, that's the and yeah, so there's a bit of that as well.
yeah. I enjoyed it as well. I similar with what you said. The 2 hours just seemed to go by fast, and I think I would have liked a docu series or at least like a 3 part
Yes, yeah,
thing to get more in depth with the subject matter. Because since I was familiar with them, of course the music stuff was sort of already
right,
known, but I wanted to know more about their lives
personal,
while
yeah,
this was coming together. Um, Now we did learn a lot about Maurice White's life and his growing up and
right,
where the vision for the group and his goal was, which was very interesting. I guess I was probably just too young to understand the philosophical things that Earth, Wind, Fire was actually saying in their
exactly,
music and in their presentation, and at that time for a black group. Um, yeah, it was interesting, but I would have liked some deep dive into Verdine's life growing up away from
right,
Maurice in Chicago, and like how Philip came, how his background and
exactly.
stuff like that, a bit more in
Because
depth.
no, no, I agree absolutely because it did seem more of a Maurice White documentary than an Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary. That and he was the face of the group. He was the lead singer. He made the songs and probably one of the more interesting stories of the band members. But yeah, it just seemed very focused on him. So
Right, right. Um, and then general likes, like I said, the hearing the music cues,
yes,
like you said, it automatically got you to singing and just
right,
calling
yeah,
uh what's it called? Call back in response to the TV, like at
right,
a show. I liked seeing even the I guess the I kind of assumed the interviews that were of other members not current meant maybe those members have passed on as well. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
But I
I think
liked
so.
hearing from them as well, and just realizing how young they were getting into this business, which looks very different from what it looks like today.
Right.
Um, but just them embarking on what they loved and taking that risk in it, and it really blossoming into something that became universal. Exactly what
Yeah.
Maurice had in mind.
What was
Um,
interesting is I kind of, like I said, one of the things I like about it is that obviously I know the music, but there was a lot I learned. Like I said, the whole, you look back now at their album covers and the way you're dressing, like you said, and you start to see this whole astrology, metaphysical type thing, and that they are
mhm.
into. And I guess I always know the stuff that like our parents grew had that era of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So that '80s era, that was completely new information to me. I was like, what?
Yeah,
Like
I have
the
no clue.
yeah. I was like, what is
And
he
apparently
doing?
they didn't either because we
You're
I
right.
couldn't tell you a single song, and maybe I do know a song from that era. Didn't know it was in the '80s, but
Right. That could be
like
it.
any other like black act, going from like the '60s, '70s to the '80s was like a
Right.
dramatic advanced time in technology and sound and
Right.
production, and you had to adapt, and a lot of the bands couldn't.
Right.
They tried, but it just wasn't their sound, unfortunately. So that's when you get sort of like the sort of lower tier
Right.
Earth, Wind, Fire music and whatnot. Um, and yeah, it was interesting to learn also about the basically the group's disbandment, like what was occurring.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Maurice got big headed,
Right.
and that happens a lot where the maestro feels that they because they're writing or arranging or producing the art, then they should own the rights to the music and the
Exactly. Yeah.
publishing. That's like black art music artist 101 is always going to come up.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say it's interesting though. Like you said, they had that drop, and I'm glad they said it because there is so Earth, Wind, and Fire is sampled so much in hip hop, and they do have this resurgence. They came to Indianapolis last year, and it's just sold out. It was them and Carlos Santana, so two people of that
Mm,
time who are well into their 70s right now, or early 70s, and they
yeah.
just still smashing it, still killing it. It's very odd, but I'm happy for them. But
Right. Yeah, I could echo the same when they showed them at Bonnaroo with Kendrick and Chance the Rapper. We were
yeah,
there for that, and seeing the cross generational
right,
contributions and realizing that they touch generations of artists beyond their reach. Um, it's really cool to see, and unfortunately, we don't have groups like that today. Like live
no,
instrumentation, just isn't a thing in mainstream. It may be happening on the indie circuits or at clubs throughout the city or whatnot, or throughout the
right,
country or whatnot, but
country,
you don't see guitars and bongos and xylophones on stage
no, not at
unless
all.
it's a older like a legacy group. So good for them to trying for sticking to what they're good, what they were meant, what they were good at. You know their
Right.
mission, their core as artists, and it's definitely carried on through generations. So what are your top five Earth, Wind, and Fire songs?
Okay, so this one I thought it was going to be difficult, but I do listen to them quite often, so it's actually kind of easy to go through like my playlist and see. But for me, I'll start at the bottom. So even though it's maybe their most famous one at five, I put September. Um, four, Sing a Song. Three,
Mm.
That's the Way of the World. Two, Fantasy, and then one, Reasons. I just and the number one, and they talked about in there how it's not really like a love song, Reasons, but even hearing that, that's not going to change people's minds because when you hear that
It's
falsetto
not.
come in, Yeah, it's a love song.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
perfect.
And if it's not a love song, people are having love, making love to it,
Right,
regardless. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, my top five are. One second. I had it written down here. The start at number five is Can't Hide Love, even though it's a cover, which
Okay.
I didn't realize until, I was much older that they covered that
Yeah.
only like a few years after the original, and I
Oh
prefer
wow.
theirs. Number four, Keep Your Head to the Sky,
Yeah.
um, is has like the same potency of Sound of Blackness optimistic. Like it's just like a
Right.
staple in black music. Number three was Fantasy. Number two is Devotion. And my number one is also Reasons, the live
Yeah.
gratitude version. If you come up to me with the
Just
studio version of Reasons,
all right.
what are you doing? Like, I don't even know
Yeah,
what
you
that
got to hear the
sounds
people in the
like.
crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Get that away from me. So yeah, it was a great documentary.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, it's on HBO Max where you can stream it. Um, Hopefully there's like a director's cut. I don't know. I just wanted
Yeah.
more
No, I completely
about
agree.
them. Yeah, yeah. All right, and now we're gonna get into our streams of the week. I'll start with something I did not mean to watch. The only reason I'm watching it is because we'd have someone review it for the site I write for. But Prime Video's The Legend of Vox Machina. This is a
Mm.
animated series based on a role playing campaigns created by Critical Role, who basically live stream like their Dungeons and Dragons role playing. They started
Yeah.
maybe in the early 2010s, and have now made it an empire where they have two series on Prime Video. They're playing a movie. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's a whole thing. So it's very interesting. They basically took the campaign they created, playing with friends, to this series where a group of,
Right.
uh, uncharacteristic heroes come together and must fight, this fantastical evil in the land of Exandria. It is pretty good. It's a half hour, and it's sort of like an adult animation. So, there's cursing, there's crude humor and whatnot, but the action and suspense and writing is pretty decent. So
Okay.
they're on season four. I think season five may be the last. I don't know, but if you ever want check out some animation. It's all on Prime Video. It's easy to get sucked in with the half hour episodes.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
yeah. And then we are discussing Apple TV's Widow's Bay, which just had its season finale last week. This is like the surprise hit of the year. This between this
Right.
and Wonder Man are like my top two wouldn't have guessed it shows for the year so far.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
If
And
you're
this one from oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if you're unfamiliar with the series, it stars Matthew Reese as the mayor of a New England town which is looking to sort of rebuild itself as a tourist attraction, but he runs into trouble given the alleged supernatural hauntings that occurs on the island next to the sea, and how he and his comrades in City Hall government kind of deal with those
Right.
troubles. Know what you're gonna say?
Oh, well, what I was gonna say is that this was one of those shows where I just kept hearing about it, and I was just like, you know what, let me just check it out, and was glad that I did. Because usually that's not always the case, but yeah, it is very good. Kind of hits all those, checks a lot of boxes. You got uh, humor. It is very funny. You've got the great
Mm-hmm.
acting. I saw a lot of people said that they were genuinely like not scared, but that the horror is good, and there are some jump
Yeah.
scares, but but yeah, and it's lighthearted in a way, even though it's covering like heavy things. It's still very good. So yeah, really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable.
Yeah, I will say it's not necessarily scary, but they know how to build suspense and they know how to make you uneasy, which is I think is more terrifying than your quote
Right.
unquote typical horror.
No, I
Especially
agree.
with a show like this where they don't have like a Lord of the Rings budget, so everything has to be
Right.
somewhat practical. But they definitely get the point across. Um, there's just yeah, it's great. All the characters are quirky and defined in their own way, which kind of provides a more authentic sort of town next door feeling,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
sort of universality in that. Um, and I think the last few episodes leading to this finale were incredible. Definitely leaned more into the eeriness and the history of
Yeah.
Widows Bay, but still had the comedy right underneath.
Yeah.
What did you think of the last episode, and did you see that coming? What we
Um,
learned?
not really, but I thought it was well done, and I could see how there will be another season. You said it got renewed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it definitely how there could be more. My only concern though is that there is a new season. I hope they just don't go like how do I say this? Like they I hope they don't like stray and do too much.
Right.
But
Right.
like no, as for the finale, yeah, no, it was great, great suspense, the whole poisoning thing and everything going on. There was a lot though, but the whole thing of bringing somebody back from the dead, yeah, I just was like, huh? I'm sorry for any
Yeah.
spoilers or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's a moment where you're just like, wait a second.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting. Sort of the dilemma that Matthew's Tom
Right.
faces, like the last 30 minutes. Great scene work between him and that actress. Just them in this room, and also the commotion with the townspeople and tourists. And I have to say, I know that his son Evan has sort of
Yeah.
this strained relationship with him and the town, whatever. But stop being so hard headed. Like, stop
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
stupid shit because you're pissing me off. And like what happened with them did not have to happen. That man was just doing
No,
his
no, no.
job, and now
Just
he's gone. So like, what?
right, right. But I do like the whole like I said, I like how do I say it? Like the creepiness and the story is just everything in part of the town. How people aren't like allowed to leave the town. Only people who were born like in New York City can come and go, but if you're born in Widows Bay, you can't leave. Like or like some weird shit will happen to you. But that whole thing with the church bells tolling like 8 times, I was kind of just like oh shit, like oh wow, like and that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Yeah, I think it's gonna set up something very good.
yeah, and I feel like I'm really happy that um everyone seems to survive. We did lose some people early
Yeah.
on in the season. They seem to be sort of like peripheral to the main story. Um, but we do have all our characters, so it's gonna be interesting how they reconcile forward. Like, will we have a time
Right.
jump? Will
Right.
we see the birth of the child, or how is that going to be? I like how they're also censoring the sheriff and his family, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not feeling like tokenism or weird like race stuff or poorly
Right.
written stuff. He feels like a full character. Um, yeah, it's just all very good. I'm not sure, would this be considered a comedy? Also, given how it's runtime.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good, I guess. Yeah, I genuinely don't know what they would consider. Like for like, are you talking about like for like the Emmys or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
cause it's the funny is there and the scary is there, and we know the Emmys don't really do too much genre,
Right.
so comedy seems like the most safest place for it, especially if we're talking about like lead actor, supporting actor, whatnot. Um, and it seems like fans have already crowned Patricia as like the character of the series, like their favorite
Yeah,
character. Because her episode was just incredible. I love
yeah,
um the twist at the end, and then her continuing sort of like the same story. It's great because the narratives follow each other. Like it's not
yeah.
like
That's true.
they're separate or it's a
No,
case.
everything is tied in. Yeah,
Yeah, everything's tied in and it continues and it has that specificity where it makes sense. It's
yeah.
good
It's well done.
TV.
And
Yeah.
in Patricia's episode, one part that got me, it was just like, and there's some laugh out loud moments throughout the series, but when she used the taser on old girl, I was just I couldn't stop laughing because like I was like, finally, thank you. But
Right. She's
oh
like,
man,
you guys, she's the worst. Like, come on.
right,
That and in one of the most recent episodes, or one of the later episodes, when Tom dropped that painting on him,
yeah,
and the woman was like, no, don't move him. He could have a spine injury. He's like, no, get it off of me. That was just so absurd. Because it's just like regular day stuff in the middle of sort of like this
right,
very dire situation. Um, but yeah, I think they balance both the comedy and horror very, very well, which most of the
yeah,
time horror and comedy are two peas in a
close, yeah,
pod. Yeah,
yeah,
they kind of they're both looking to get interaction out of you, whether it's laugh funny or you're laughing because you're terrified. It's almost the same
right.
response. So it's
And
definitely a surprise hit. Yeah.
and I will say, maybe while it wasn't the most terrifying part of the show, uh, when Tom initially goes to the inn and he has that full night with that guy who he's talking to, you get what's coming, but it's so well done that
Yeah.
when you learn what's happening, it's still very creepy and it is well acted. I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect, and
Right.
that's like the type of scary that I enjoy. Like I'm not really scared or impressed with the slasher movie or
No,
like
no, no.
monsters and demons. I want there to be some sense of realism, like if
Exactly.
you're inside a nightmare or inside your worst scenario. And
Exactly.
yeah, you waking up to realize this guest that you were having full blown conversations with may have been an apparition, and then is chasing you down a crawl space as a murderous clown.
Yes. Jesus
That shit was
Christ.
scary. Like clowns in
Yeah.
general, but the claustrophobia of it all,
Right, right.
yeah, terrifying. Um, not sure when season two is coming. I hope it's not 2 years later. Like let's turn it
Yeah.
around. Um, but it's interesting when I initially described the show, I saw other people describing the same way. It's like, of course, we learned that the writer had based this as a spec for Parks and Recreation, so
Oh.
it definitely has that small town government feel and the bureaucracy
Yeah,
of
absolutely. Yeah.
city hall and landscaping and sheriff's whatnot. But then it has a touch of Severance, just given the lore that it builds around this
Right.
isolated place. Um, and then the horror bits of it, the best I could describe it was like Ghost and Mr. Chicken, which is an old film I used to watch as a kid that starred Don Knotts as sort of like this goofy townsman who's challenged to stay in a haunted house, and he sees the ghost, but no one believes him, and that's basically
Oh,
Tom um, in the series. So yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, one, why don't you have Apple TV? It's literally
true.
the best thing since HBO.
True.
Like honestly, definitely check it out. I'm sure they have some type of special summer deal or something. If you get a new iPhone, get Apple TV for free for 3 months, something.
Yeah.
But just check it out. 10 episodes, half hours for the most part. Also, kudos to Betty Gilpin for her episode, which was sort of like the period piece that
Yeah.
showed like the history of the town settling, and also uh, Hamish Linklater. Is that his name? I want to make sure I say his name right.
I think so. Hold on. I just had the cast up.
Yeah. Yes, Hamish Linklater, who is known for New Adventures of Old Christine, where I first saw him. He played Julie
Yeah.
Louise Dreyfus's brother, but he's gone on to be in some masterful roles, including uh, that horror series from Mike Flanagan,
Mm.
and he voices Batman in Batman Cape Crusader on Prime Video. So he's a very versatile actor. Um,
And I'll tell you what, the other guy, Jeff Hiller, who is in this show, who plays Dale, one of the workers in the office, bro, he keeps a job. Like he's always in a show. Like
exactly. He won that Emmy, and they said, "Oh yes,
right,
keep booking
yeah,
him."
yeah,
Him, Dale Dickey, always popping up.
yeah,
She was in Fallout. She's hilarious, and Stephen
yeah,
Root is a versatile
yes,
actor as well. He does
yeah. He's got
comedy
range.
like Office Space, and then he shows up as a racist in Get Out. Like
Yeah, it's nuts.
the range
I think
has no end.
oh, he voiced somebody in King of the Hill. I cannot hear it. Oh, I don't know, but he was in King of the Hill as well. Oh, I don't know if you watched King of Hill, but one of the four friends, Bill, he's the one that's like the chubby one that always has a tank top on.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but he did that from the start. Yeah, so he's been around. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an excellent actor as well. The caliber of acting they have in the show is great, to match the writing, and hopefully, you can't nominate everyone, but they definitely deserve
right.
some nominations. I know Hacks is on its way out, so they still may award that series for its longevity. But Widow's Bay definitely deserves a spot on your ballots, since voting for the Emmys concludes Monday, which would have been 2 days
Wow.
ago. Yeah, we're already in that season, so definitely check out Widow's Bay. We can't preach about it enough, as you can see. It's a great show.
Right.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. We thank you for pressing play on another edition of It's a Streamable Life podcast. Next time we will be discussing, our favorite shows from the past 3 months, looking ahead, and we might bring up our potential contenders for Emmy nominations,
Absolutely.
which will be announced July 8th. So the official
Hmm.
nominations will be announced then, and we'll be steamrolling basically into award season, because right after the Emmys, it's basically film season time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy how quickly those things come back around. All right, thanks for listening. Until next time, keep on streaming.
Peace.